everybody, it's Emily Dark Schooling, and today we're going to be doing a book haul. You've already seen me in this outfit because I'm too lazy to change between videos and I'm bulk filming today, so it's fine. I'm going to be showing you the books that I've bought this month. I kind of have made up for my not buying that many books at the first part of the year because this month I kind of went wild. And I bought a lot of things, and a lot of it in the sake of supporting independent bookstores and that sort of thing, because I wanted to do that, and also because I just buy a lot of books. So, on that note, let's look at what we have here. So, these three came from one of our favorite bookstores. So, I got All of a Kind Family by Sydney Taylor, and this is middle grade that I've never read. It's been recommended to me several times, so I decided I should read this. This takes place in New York City in the turn of the century, and it's a family, and they have all girls, essentially. That's All of a Kind Family is because they're all girls. And so it sounds cute. They're a Jewish family, so I like finding books about Jewishness and like Jewish characters and stuff like that, so I'm very interested to see what I think of this. And then I bought Under the Broken Sky by Mariko Nagai. So this is a middle grade novel in verse, and it takes place in China, like right on the border in Manchuria with the Soviet Union, and it takes place, I think, at the end or the beginning. Yeah, this is during the Soviet occupation of Manchuria in the late 1940s. I think it starts in 1945, so like right after the war. And again, a time period and topic I have not seen before in middle grade. I'm excited to give this a go and see what I think. And then this book I'm so excited about. This is The Blossom and the Firefly by Sherry L. Smith. And I bought this because it was blurbed as like, if you liked Lovely War, then you'll like this. And I loved Lovely War so much. It was one of my favorite books last year, so I, of course, have to read this. This takes place in Japan during World War II, and it follows, I believe, a kamikaze pilot, and he falls in love with this girl, and it sounds tragic and wonderful, and I want to read it immediately, but I have other things I have to get through first, and it's kind of killing me inside. Then I ordered from I think it's bookshop.org. I wanted to check them out, and so I bought two books there. I bought The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I've been just hearing so many people talk about how great this is, and I read the blurb, and I got so excited. Like, I have to have this. I have to read it immediately. So this is going to be the ARG Booked Book Club pick for May, because I just know that I'm going to want to talk about it. And so also Sarah is dying to read this. So we're going to be fighting over this copy to read it at the same time. But this story just sounds so much fun. It's like if Douglas Adams and Terry Pratchett had a baby, they would birth this book, I think. It sounds hilarious. It's like fantasy, and there's a magic, I don't know if it's a school or an orphanage. I think it's an orphanage, yeah. There's this weird orphanage with these like strange children who are too dangerous to live in society or something like that. And it sounds wonderful. The main protagonist is like a 40-year-old caseworker in the department in charge of magical youth, and I have to read this immediately. So I'm very excited to be picking this up for May, and I hope you guys grab a copy and read along with us, because I think it's going to be great. It sounds like the perfect book to be reading right now. And then because I've been eyeing this book for ages, I went ahead and picked up The Six Wives of Henry VIII by Alison Weir. I really like her books on the Tudors. I've read several of her fiction books, and I own a couple of her nonfictions, and I've sort of read bits and pieces, but never a whole book. But this one has just been calling to me for ages because it covers all six of the wives. It is a junker, it's a big book, but it's one of those floppy ones, so I think it's actually going to be delightful to read because I really like reading these floppy paperbacks. But I'm just excited to skim through this and read about the wives as I am in the mood to. So if I'm in the mood for Catherine Howard stuff, I can just flip to her section and read that. I'm weird like that. And then another bookstore near us I discovered had online ordering. So I went ahead and bought my finished copy of the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I've already read this. I had the ARC. I read it, loved it so much. I might do a full review because I just want to talk about it because I want everyone to pick this up. It's so delightful and wonderful. This is like horror comedy, but sometimes it gets really dark, but it still kind of feels lighthearted and fun. This is essentially what if a group of soccer moms in the 90s who have a book club together where they read like murder mysteries all the time and true crime novels. And what if like Dracula moved into their neighborhood and they start to notice weird things happening and they were the only ones who saw it. And they just like, it's so good. It was so fun to read. And I just really enjoyed every minute reading this book. I also bought They Went Left by Monica Hess, which is a story about like the aftermath of the Holocaust. And I think it's about a girl looking for her sister. Their parents were killed and they're all that they have left. And I don't see books often that cover like what happened after regarding the Holocaust. It's usually only books that take place during. And so I'm really interested to read this and see like what that looked like. I read her book, The Girl in the Blue Coat, and I enjoyed that. So I'm interested to see what this does. And this is, I believe, YA. Then I also had an order from Book Outlet because I hadn't bought anything there lately and I decided to splurge and treat myself. So I got Geraldine Brooks, The People of the Book. I have had this on my radar for a really long time, and when I saw they had it for a really good price, I decided to get it. This, I believe, is about these people who are hunting for this rare, they trade in rare books, and they're looking for this like ancient Jewish mysticism book, I think. And so I'm interested to see what this is, because I really know is that it has to do with like early Jewish writings and people trying to track down a book. I'm always interested in books about like people looking for books or books about books. So I'm intrigued, and though I own, I think, 2 other books by her, I've never read anything by Geraldine Brooks. I just, for whatever reason, keep collecting her books. I hope it's good, because now I own 3 of her books. I purchased Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth by Sheila O'Connor. This was a book that I've seen like talked about during middle grade March. I heard it mentioned several times. And then somebody told me that I should put this in level 6. And so I was like, hey, they have it on Book Outlet. I'll go ahead and get a copy. So all I know is that this has to do with a kid and their teacher, I believe, in the like late 1960s, and about Vietnam and like the response to Vietnam War in America at that time. I think it's told through letters. That's what the inside looks like. So it's told through a series of letters between the student and teacher. And I'm just really interested to see what I think of that. It sounds like it could be really good. I bought The Lost Queen by, I don't know how you say this name, by Signa Pike. Signa? Is it Signa? I don't know. I'm not sure how you say it. But I was very excited about this because this is the first book in a trilogy about a Scottish, like an ancient Scottish queen. It's the first book in the Lost Queen trilogy, and I like reading about like early Middle Ages type stuff and like what happened after the fall of Rome and how Europe changed and like the Dark Ages and that sort of thing. But I don't read that much about that time period, oddly. I also just really like the cover is just really beautiful. And it says on the front, Outlander meets Camelot, a sweeping magical tale. So it's sort of that, it's not fantasy, but there's like a lot of folklore-ish type of stuff going on in this, I think. I bought The Glittering Hour by Iona Gray. I don't even remember what this is. This takes place in England, I believe in London, over the early 1900s, like through World War II. So I think it covers both World Wars, and I think that's probably what got me to purchase this, honestly. I think I liked the cover and then saw World War II and went, okay, I'll give it a shot. I bought Nottingham by Nathan McCarrick. This I bought because I noticed it in the Goodreads Awards. I believe it was one of the finalists for historical fiction, and I had never heard of it. And I saw it was called Nottingham, and there's a castle, and I can only assume it's Robin Hood. But this is sort of a, like, different version of Robin Hood, I believe. More of a realistic portrayal, I think, is what they're going for of the Robin Hood story. What it might have been like if it actually happened, like how that would have played out, that sort of thing. So I was very intrigued. I will say I'm very intimidated by how tiny the print is in this book. Like, it's like those really thin, like almost Bible pages with teeny tiny print. So it's already a large book. Like it's not short. It's not quite 500 pages, but close. And then with that tiny print, I don't know. This is a little bit scary. I have a few other books I've picked up on Amazon. I have this book I bought purely because Reagan at Peruse Project was talking about it, and I had to have it. I think it was in one of her like underrated books video, and it's called The City of Dreaming Books, and it's by Walter Moers, and I believe this is translated from the German, so I can use this in my Build Your Library Reading Challenge. There's a challenge to read a book that is translated, so this would count for that. This is, I think, a children's book. There's a lot of illustrations in it, but they're really weird. As far as I understand it, this is a book about a little dinosaur guy who lives in this weird world, and he has to go. I don't even know. I'm just gonna read. I don't know how to explain this book in the slightest, so I'm just gonna read you what it says on the back. Optimus Yarnspinner has inherited from his godfather an unpublished manuscript by an unknown writer. He sets off to track down the mysterious author who disappeared into Bookholm, the so-called city of dreaming books. Yarnspinner falls under the spell of this book-obsessed metropolis, where an avid reader and budding author can find any number of charming attractions. Priceless signed first editions, salivating literary agents, and for-hire critics. But as he pursues the trail of the missing author, the darker side of Bookholm begins to unveil itself. Cold-blooded book hunters, fearsome cyclopean booklings, sharp-toothed enimotomes, and of course the Shadow King, whose howls rise from the deep beneath the city at night. Will Yarnspinner survive his quest into this world where reading is a genuine adventure? The fact that it's a tiny dinosaur and that it's about books, and I had to own this. It says on the back that it's equal parts J.K. Rowling, Douglas Adams, and Shel Silverstein, and that is how you get me to buy a book, honestly.
I'm sure there's more than just that way to get you to buy books, but yeah.
Well, yeah. You're not wrong. I picked up All the Stars Denied, and this is by Guadalupe Garcia McCall, and I was really intrigued by this, and I've already got it in my level 6 update pile because I am just so sure this is going to be great. This is a story that takes place during the Dust Bowl in Texas. Emily editing in the future, I just wanted to pop in because I don't know what happened. I just like went on this weird rambly babble fest that was completely incoherent about this book. So I'm going to try to sound more together. We'll see. But this book I bought because it takes place during the 1930s in a period that is often overlooked, I think, when discussing the Great Depression. This takes place when Mexicans who were living in America, even citizens, were being deported in like mass numbers. So there were these mass deportations happening of American citizens who happened to be of Mexican descent because they were being scapegoated, essentially, for all of the problems during the Dust Bowl. So this story focuses on one particular girl who is deported and has to figure out how to get back to her family. And it just sounds like such an interesting story and one I have never read before. So I'm really hoping that this will work for level 6 because I'm just so excited to find a story like that I could include. It might work in level 6, but I don't know yet. So I'm gonna have to read it and see what I think, but it's in my pile for that. I picked up The Monster of Elendhaven by Jennifer Gisbrecht. I don't think I'm saying that right, but I picked this up because I saw some people talking about it on Twitter. And I hadn't heard of it, and so I bought it, and it's like a novella. I believe it's only 159 pages long, so it's really short. But this is like a dark fantasy, and there's, I want to say it was, somebody said it was two villains falling in love or something like that. Or that like love each, I don't know. I don't remember now. Everything's a blur, but I picked this up because I thought it sounded interesting. And then when I got it and Sarah goes, ooh, I wanted to read that. So apparently Sarah also wants to read this. So I have that. And then my husband pre-ordered me the new Stephen King, If It Bleeds. I don't know what this is, honestly. I knew he was writing a new book, but I have no idea what it's about. I was thinking I might do some kind of video series of me like vlogging myself reading Stephen King's new books because I've gotten all of his new books. I don't think I've read any of them, but I really want to, so I might have to like push myself into reading them by making it a project. So I think I'm going to do some kind of video series. If you're interested in that, let me know and I'll make it like a priority to get started on. I'm very interested to see what this is. Most of the Stephen King I've read has been his older stuff, so I've not read too much of the newer Stephen King. I think the most recent of his books that I've read was Under the Dome, so that's been a while. So I should make that a project. This is the stack of books I bought in April. And actually, I think some of this was probably from the end of March too, so it's not all this month, but most of this month. I don't know. I'm probably going to try not to buy anything new for a little while, at least. Maybe the next month I won't get anything because now I've got way too many books. But I really am excited for every single one of these, and I regret nothing. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Did you get any cool new books this month? What are you reading? What is keeping you happy? I'd like to know. Let me know down below in the comments and we can chat. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye!